who can transfer or transport and get to places in a timely, powerful manner. So in housing is the security of a wound, or the security of a roof or walls that we all come from. We know we was in the belly and the comfort of the system that God has created that come through our mothers. And then we know that also that we are part of the system of development, where people carved out houses and ways of living in mountains or trees, and they have gone up even in the skies. Well, that's why Ron Shakir, we like to talk about these type of things. Okay, well, you know it's kind of my motto to wear a hat every now and then. And I sure want these cameras to be following old Ron the way he looking at. And I don't mind if I stay on one camera, but wherever I'm at, I want to be looking at that camera. So we got people helping us along the way, because we can't do this by ourselves. Well, fellas, I tell you what, you all be able to call. You'll see call-in numbers. I'm going to have some guests here. I want to talk about what was happening at City Hall and what's going on in the city of Atlanta. And I guess this is not going to be a stale show, but the city of Atlanta today is the last day for early voting. It's more than just that. It's in 24 hours, in I say almost 25 hours, the polls of Atlanta are going to be closed to vote for a new person on the Board of Education, and to vote for a new seat as far as Fulton County Commissioner from the late Emma Darnell fulfilling that seat. I believe it's about 9 candidates in both of these races. Those are a lot of people to choose from, but it's important that you get out there. I have made a tradition on People TV to invite people, and it's hard. Candidates have they have knowledge of what to do and how to do it. They have appointments, and they can't make Monday. So I can't put together or have a forum at this particular time. But even then, I ran for office once before, y'all. I tell you what, sometimes you go, I tell this now, no one don't ask me if I don't talk to nobody. I don't, it's something I don't share that often. But I don't mind sharing it. But one thing I noticed about going to these forums as far as engagement, and we want to check those telephones too, make sure we're going to be able to get calls. But what I found out is that after going to my second one, I realized I had the person that came with me, or I look out at the other candidates, the people who came with them, 2, 3, or 4 different people. And other than that, you have 5 or 10 people that was who found out about it, who's interested. As a city, and as a state, and as a country, I think we can do much better as far as getting people out to be able to participate, to have really what you call a town hall meeting, a town house. It needs to be a town call out to encourage people. Hey, we're going to be talking about issues in your community, and these are going to be the people who are going to. One of these persons is going to be the people that are going to make that decision for you. So you need to all come out. And the government, whether it be a county, city, whatever, the municipality, should be involved in that. And then it ought to be the media. The media is a hand that's kind of tied in a way, because commercials is one of the highest level of income that comes in during these elections, national elections, congressional elections. There are millions, hundreds of thousands of dollars, less on the local level like your Board of Education or your county seats or city seats, but it's a lot of money that the radio and TV make. I think the radio, TV have to start looking at how to be a public servant opposed to looking at this as being a time that they're gonna make a lot of money. Because if that's the case, the only one who can really run is the people who can raise a lot of money. And I don't think that's the case of being the best. Okay, there was a lot of things going down at City Hall today. And I had this one guy, Jerry Jackson. I guess I got to drag him on in here, you know, and to get him to pay attention to what's going on. I already gave him the clockwork on it, and I'm not going to be trying to tie him down to bring him on in here. He's going to have to get involved, you know. But I will say, one of you guys, I'll ask y'all to look for Jerry Jackson's number on my phone. And can you find it and just text him that last number and maybe remind him to call. But today, we was in City Council Committee on Council, and Matthew Carnelli and a few other people were setting the stage to broaden the or take the handcuffs off city about citizens being able to address their in public comment. We wanted to do something about that. We wanted them to relax a little bit. It is very hard. You said that. Yeah, and it's very hard sometimes to come down to City Hall, and for sure we should have our hands tied. And in the last 10 years, you all, they are shrinking public engagement. So we want to talk about that. And I'm going to talk, and we're going to bring in this conversation two men who I have met in another subject that was going on in in downtown Atlanta today was that happened in Transportation Committee last week was and it passed through and it was voted on. It will be voted on today at City Hall, and that is a committee to have a study group to determine a resolution by Transportation Committee requesting the Department of the City Planning to conduct a study to evaluate reducing speed limits within the city of Atlanta to improve safety and quality of life for all residents, including people who drive, bike, walk, ride, transit, and use wheelchairs or other wheeled devices and for other purposes. Well, you all, that sounds like a great idea. Well, about 9 months ago, without no consulting the council or the law department, anybody, what was dropped in the city of Atlanta was scooters, and they had their way on the street, on the sidewalks of the city of Atlanta. And if you was fortunate enough not to get hit by one, then you was safe. You did good. But some citizens have got hit. Some of the riders have been critically injured, and some of them have been fatalities on these scooters. It wasn't the structure. It wasn't the type of organization that we should be proud of. And I think that if anybody would look at what's going on Martin Luther King, I would like to get a phone test. I want one of y'all please to test the ringing of the phone. Okay, and maybe we ought to call that number if you can do that, Travis, and make sure we get in the ring. But what we have seen in the city of Atlanta is a citizen of we have seen citizens, I lost my thought for a minute, who have been injured on these machines. And now we are seeing a study group. Can we trust this study group? Here we are. When you look at Martin Luther King Corridor, which was promised by the former mayor of the city of Atlanta, I'm not going to mention his name, is that, because I don't like mentioning his name just in areas of disagreement, which I disagree with for most of the time. But we have a situation where we are looking at and we want to address it, and that is to have campaign that you talked to the citizens about having a beautification of Martin Luther King, but actually what you did, you installed a common traffic strategy that you have caused great inconvenience to citizens who have to leave their driveway to go east and have to go west 1 or 2 or 3 blocks whenever they can turn around, or they have to pass their house 2 or 3 or 5 or 6 houses to make a turn that they didn't even put in the design. I'm telling you, citizens, if you have not been on Martin Luther King corridor from Northside Drive to Westlake, you owe it to yourself to see how the government of the city of Atlanta has planned and rolled out. And we're not talking about citizens who have not been involved. We're talking about citizens who have addressed the former mayor, the present mayor, and the planning department, and was promised that they were not going to do what they rolled out and did. And if you would look at the emergency police department, they have betrayed us all. One last thing. Jerry Jackson brought up a very strong point about public engagement. And we're going to talk about that. But another thing he brought up was the lack of kindness and care when you have a citizen who are visiting or who are living and transferring, going to school, going back and forth, and there's not a water fountain. And water fountains, I remember, used to be functioning in the downtown area of the city of Atlanta. And now you don't have none. I want to talk about that. But I want to talk now, and I don't know if we have a full scope or not, but you follow it how you want to. On my left here, and on my right, I have 2 gentlemen, and that's D. Davenport and Lee Ghee. And these are 2 strong advocates. I just want to tell you something about this man right here. Well, I want to tell you something about that one over there first, Lee. I met him first. I met Lee, I don't know, around People TV or somewhere, and found out what kind of man he was, what kind of concerned citizen he was. And it was doing a somewhat of a tragedy where he was hit by a car and emergency things, services picked him up. Lee, can you tell us what happened? And we're gonna go into some other things. What happened when you got hit by a vehicle?
Well, the accident happened on Campbellton Road, Campbellton and Childress Street. It was on November 15th, 2014. And I was hit by a car. I was on a bicycle. I was coming from Oakland City, where I do a little community network. I have like a little community network survey I do, where I go door to door and check on different families. But anyway, I'm coming down the street. What I'm told, because I don't remember it, the light had changed. I was making a turn, and some young ladies ran the light and hit me and knocked me off the bike, and I was unconscious. When I woke up, I was at Grady Hospital, and the police officer did not do a report. So
wait a minute. Yeah. What do you mean the police did not do a report?
Exactly what I said. There's no report.
You at Grady Hospital?
I'm at Grady Hospital. There was no report done. The staff didn't know what's wrong with me. I wake up, I'm hurting. Obviously, face all messed up, body messed up, hurting. And they asking me, are you in the gang? Or is it gang related? Did you get jumped or something? I'm out of it. As you can imagine, I'm just waking up. I'm in the hospital. I'm anxious. I'm nervous. I'm like, what's going on? And come to find out, let's say 30, 40 minutes later, one of the nurses said, there's no report on you. There's no police report. You was brought in by ambulance, but there's no police report. So
stop right there. No police report.
No police report. No police.
So now, were you discharged or?
Well, let me tell you, they stitched my lip up. I was stitched up. They sent me through to get the, I say some form of X-ray. Like I said, I'm in and out. I got the medical record, but anyway, they did their little procedure. They released me within 3 hours.
They released in 3 hours.
Yeah.
How did you? They didn't observe you for 24 hours.
No, they didn't observe me 24 hours. They released me after they stitched me up. They gave me a tetanus shot. They released me, and I ended up walking home. I ended up walking from.
Wait a minute. What time of day you talking about?
Oh, we're talking about 1 in the morning. It was probably about 12 o'clock, 1 in the morning.
1 in the morning, you released.
Yeah, I
and
released.
how did you get home?
I walked. I had blood all on me, all jacked up. I couldn't get on the MARTA bus. I think I would have been able to caught that last train or something like that, but I didn't want to get on there in that shape, looking like that. And so I ended up walking. And as I'm walking, the good thing about me walking home was when I get back to the scene of where it happened at, a gentleman who was parking cars for the local nightclub stopped me in shock of seeing me and told me what happened to me. Told me that the police told the girls everything okay. Said the young ladies are the one who called the police, dialed 911 for me, and they stayed with me the whole time, even till after I left. That's when they left. And but the police didn't ask no questions.
No ticket was wrote.
No ticket. Didn't ask the young lady no question. Didn't get their insurance. Nothing. Just told them it's okay and let them go.
Okay, you can stop right there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, look at that, y'all.
Yeah.
Look at that. You have a citizen got hit by a car. Why are we talking about that, Nate? Lee, is that we were downtown today, and part of the conversation that we had downtown, there's a push, and you're going to see it on the news, local news. We saw TV channels there, 2, 5, and 11, I believe was there today. 46. Y'all see it on TV, 46. They're talking about street safety and safe streets, and one particular shirt, Respect Cascade. So there's a push. Someone from the scooters came up. We need to have and respect and have safety for all forms of transportation. And then it was also a conversation saying that we need to have the ability. Can we close that door if I won't hear no conversation? It's distracting me a little bit. Can we also, excuse me. So we're in a situation where we have these concerns. As citizens, we want safety in our on our streets. Mm-hmm. But when you have a culture, we have a culture of people who get second-class treatment, and when they say they're doing one thing, they actually doing something else. We want to wonder what they're really doing. They say they want to have the most beautiful street on Martin Luther King any place in the country, but then they create a system that we can hardly use and have access to those streets. Mm-hmm. Now you have Brother Lee get hit by a car, walk home, get emergency service, walk home, and is identified by somebody who says that I saw what happened. Mm-hmm. It's the first time he knows what's happened. Mm-hmm. So we're saying that when we see as citizens see the type of lack of service that we get, we're going to get back to that, because citizens, you have to get involved. You have to stand up, because this should not have happened to Lee. There should have been a ticket wrote. He could have had some effects from that today. But that's where, and that's why my advocacy is about transportation, housing, and education. We're going to tie all those things. We're going to do a 360 on that. Now we're going to get into advocacy, y'all, because Lee didn't take that laying down. First of all, he was out advocating and checking on concerns of the community. My next guest here is D. Davenport. You talking about a man I met maybe 3 years ago, and he was telling me about he was going to do something for a great sportscaster, Chico Renfro. You talking about someone who loved and supported high school sports in Atlanta. Chico was a man, and one thing he said, what was it, my brother?
Game of life is never over until the final whistle is blown.
Yes. What have you been doing? Let me tell you. I'm going to tell you what he's been doing. He has been drawing attention to unsung heroes And those heroes have been people who have presented plenty services to our community, our two children. And some of those children have gone into professional educators, trainers in this field. But today at City Hall, they were talking about, really actually talking about both of those things because of the work he's been doing. But another thing tied into safe streets. Safe streets, y'all. We're going to bring mothers and fathers and parents and boyfriends and girlfriends and big brothers into that too. But he has a brother. Could you tell us something about your brother and why safe streets have been something that you've been paying more attention to?
Thank you very much. First of all, giving honor to God, who oftentimes calls my conductor. I don't have a PhD, but I do have a GOD. I am the founder of Hit and Run Help Foundation. And what that is, December 13th, 2013, my brother was killed in a hit and run. Driver hit him, took his body about 50 yards, left him for dead. He did die. As a matter of fact, briefly, 2017, his oldest son took his own life. This year, 1st of January, his youngest son took his own life. Thus, I created this foundation to get out awareness concerning hit and run pedestrians. We were instrumental in getting the city to actually pass a bill, which was called CJ's Law last year, and had to revisit that law. But it was just a little minuscule thing. You know, the punishment for you hitting, killing somebody and leaving the scene is very minuscule. And so what I'm intending to do is get the word out. We need to stop this nonsense. I'm calling for a National Day of Awareness, December 13th. As soon as I'm able, we're going to be calling all over this country to let people know this madness has to stop. And within the city of Atlanta, it's just rampant that people are running over people, leaving them for dead. They just have a total disregard for life. And as you were talking about today, Mr. Shakir, and I applaud you, it is sad that our community would spend more money on the business sector and more attention on the business sector. It seems like capitalism reigns supreme. You know, these scooters and well, let me just say, what the city is doing, they're shortening the streets, giving people more leeway to do what they want to do in the streets and on the sidewalks. Let's talk about these scooters. They're running over people. Police don't even ticket them. They said they have to obey the law in driving in the street. They don't do that. They drive on the sidewalk. They don't do that. Even the people who are driving, and I'm sorry for mixing the message, but all of this ties in. Not only do citizens have a total disregard for human life, it seems as if our politicians are falling right on those lines. You know, people who actually have paid prices, like my brother and his son as veterans, they do not stand a chance in having somebody stand up for them.
Let me say this here. I've seen you in contacting elected officials and policymakers. What's your concern when you see an ordinance or a resolution that was passed with a study group? Do you have any immediate concerns? And Lee, if you want to come in on this, we have seen these type of groups formed, and we end up seeing a corridor like Martin Luther King. Mm-hmm. We have seen these groups formed, and they called the studio that was on Ponce de Leon in Atlanta on Cascade Road. And you go to our NPU meetings. It seemed like they're more interested in establishing bike lanes than they are about establishing safety. And I just want to send this message out to you guys over in Buckhead on Peachtree Street, going towards the Amtrak. Bike lanes are coming out there. Okay, so you think we was getting all happy, or we was getting all these bike lanes and having our ability to travel up and down the roads? Can we do both of them? Can we have functional streets that we can go and pick up our brother, our mother, our brothers, our children, my friends? Can we have that without having our traffic strangled?
Well, first.
And citizens' safety secondary, and still have functioning streets that people can use 15 or 30 miles a day.
The first thing they have to do is learn from other cities who already have seen this problem and have found solutions.
Well, hold up now. I wanna slow us down as far as that's concerned, because they love to go. Matter of fact, they have said Brazil and China is someone that we want to learn from. So, let me say this here. Atlanta's unique. Mm-hmm. We had a man named Moreland, and that Moreland, to me, has built, through his leadership, I don't know much about him outside of building highways. Mm-hmm. He was around doing Jim Crow. Mm-hmm. So, but what he did for the city of Atlanta, people like to always complain about Atlanta traffic. Man, I done traveled east, I done traveled to Chicago. Man, the expressways up until the last 8 or 10 years, we didn't have potholes in our expressway. Mm-hmm. We had an accessible highway, and we are a convention city. That convention city had people coming into town, south, east, west, north, and south, and it made us the largest airport in a very functionable downtown section. There's a new culture that's being brought in, and that culture to me is a selfish one, but I think we can have safety, and we can have a commercial scene too. But this new guy who's been here about 2.5 years now, he want to close down all one-way streets and make them two-way streets. That's going to create more backup, more congestion, and anybody who went down Martin Luther King, wait till they get to Buckhead, y'all. These bike lanes is going to bag people up in a terrible way. Okay, I can't do it. I'm talking. You tell me.
But this is the thing. What I'm saying, what I say about learning from other cities, because the same problems that other cities had when they first brought the e-scooters and the bicycles, it's the same problem we're having. If you're gonna have a study group, then do the study group before you allow and give permits out to e-scooters.
Definitely.
Change your streets before you allow citizens to be vulnerable of getting hurt and get killed. Don't wait till people get killed and hurt and injured before you finally decide to have study groups and make enhancements to the streets.
Well, let me ask you this, and I'm going to both of y'all get in on this here. How can we slow traffic down in the city of Atlanta?
First of all, I got to ban the e-scooters. We got to put a ban on the e-scooters.
No, hold on. No, I'm sorry, that's something different. Mm-hmm. How can we slow the traffic down from speeding? And if y'all can't, we do it the way we've been doing. We put a police car out there, we put signs out there, and if somebody going crazy driving, we give them a ticket.
Yeah. And it's going to be more tickets, because who's going to slow down? You know people that going to slow down.
Well, I think we'll slow down when they get a ticket.
Well, they don't give tickets.
They don't
give tickets. I was just at 5 points when we left City Hall today. And when you're talking about this law for the scooters, they have to ride on the street. I saw 3 people ride on the sidewalk past 3 policemen, and the policemen stood there and watched them. They don't give tickets.
So, we're going to spend millions of dollars on this project, on this corridor. It's 2 sisters who really have brought attention to this in the community up in Adamsville. I don't know all the names of these communities, but they have really brought attention that they have talked to the mayor, the new one, and Kasim Reed, and Mrs. Bottoms, and they have been promised y'all that they were going to do something, and they wasn't going to continue pulling us out. Really, they don't care about what we think.
And even the landscape of it, of the mediums.
The mediums, yeah.
Okay, the mediums in the new corridor over here on ML King, they're too wide. They took 2 lanes. There was a 4-lane street, now it's down to 2 lanes. If you just go to Cascade, you see how small those mediums are?
Yeah.
They still have 4 lanes. Why they didn't put that up on ML King? The small mediums to keep the 4 lanes.
Right.
So outside
in fact, somebody said that the other day, that if they would have not made the medium so large, you still could have had 2 lanes.
Yeah, you had the 4-lane streets. So I went out Saturday, and me and activist Terrence Smith, we went out and we took pictures, and they got the meeting coming up Thursday at C.T. Martin Recreation Center. I sent a message out to Boone's office to hope that she would be there, and these are some of the things we're going to bring up.
Okay, I want y'all to catch this. What Brother Lee have said. He took action. He made telephone calls to City Hall, and he checked with Representative Boone, and he just made an announcement that it's going to be at the C.T. Martin. This is going to be a continuation about these mediums and this traffic.
Thursday. The
This
19th
coming
at
up-
7 o'clock. Yeah.
Okay. What can we do as citizens? You're a person who come down to City Hall, and he just don't come, but he encourage and give space to people who may need all the time. But what else you do besides coming to City Council? How do you engage the question of what can you do?
Well, there are.
Or and could you tell other citizens, y'all need to listen to what you do it because you also need to do it.
Well, actually, it is fairly simple. I'm reminded of a late great hero, Hosea Williams. Hosea, he didn't just talk to talk. He went before the legislators and say, "I dare you to help my people." So what we need to do, we need to get off our cell phones. We need to get off the telephones and stop calling. We need to go to City Hall. We need to actually participate with our council people. I'm reminded of a conversation that you had with Mr. Bozeman today on his radio show. And Mr. Bozeman and you all were in agreement. Once they're elected, they forget about us. So what we need to do, we need to go downtown and get in these council people's offices, talk to their persons who they hire to hear you. See, we have a problem. We sit back, we talk about it and wonder why things aren't done. But we need to get up, go downtown, let these people know that we mean business, or else they're going to keep on pushing that pencil. And guess what? Bathrooms going to continue to be closed. Water fountains are going to continue to dry up.
Go ahead.
Let me speak on that. Even when you go down to City Hall, and I've been down there many times, Brother Ron can attest to this, put in requests for meetings, they brush you off. I talk to them one-on-one, they make empty promises. The thing is, we don't have a solid backing or nothing to influence them to do their job. They'll tell us one thing, and they'll do another.
Yeah, well, now you're absolutely right, and I kind of witnessed that today with a very dear council person that I have that I've worked, who's done some things, and he answered a couple of calls of mine, and I was shocked by a response. However, now you're right, but what I am saying, unless we get up off of our bottoms, get out of house, and get out into City Hall,
In numbers.
into state legislator, and go. Now, see, if we keep knocking on the door, they can't keep saying no.
Well, I tell you what, too, brother Davenport. We keep going down there. Pretty soon, we're going to get close to an election date.
Yes, sir.
So that election date might be the time where we can give them some walking papers and maybe open up to having some other people coming in office. Can you tell us what are some ways besides the police and give tickets? What other ways? Let's talk about safety because a young man, I believe his name was Jermaine. If callers, if y'all know about a young man that was hit by a car in the last couple of days or yesterday, it was struck and killed by an automobile. I believe it's what's the name for the Hightower Road?
Oh, Hampton Homes.
Holmes.
Yeah.
But it was on that side of town.
Yes, the young man, high school kid.
Was it a high school
Yeah,
kid?
he high school kid. He was
8th, 9th grade or what?
on his way to school, and actually, and I was watching the news that day, and the young lady, they said she actually stopped. Some people say she was speeding, some people say she wasn't. However, as I've always said, we seem to have a total disregard for human life. People, these are $10, $15, $20,000, 20,000-pound vehicles that are crashing into people and taking lives. We put too much value on the dollar in this country instead of human life.
True. That's sad.
Well, let me say this here, y'all, and I want y'all to be very conscious of this here. You young people, you have to, if we have a call, just give me a hand. And is that a caller? Okay, she's saying yes or no. Okay, somebody see that.
Saying yes.
Okay, caller, go ahead. Ask your question, make your statement.
Oh, hi, Ron. How are you?
Good. Glad you called. We hear you. Very good.
Yeah,
Very good.
I know that you are a very concerned individual. I know you go down to City Hall. We need more people like you who speak out and get involved. It seems like the city of Atlanta, they are asleep. The residents are asleep, and they don't give a darn about what's going on. You just keep on doing what you're doing.
Well,
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your encouragement. Those are some citizens that Martin Luther King has been very involved in telling citizens of what's going on, and they emphatic about it. But they really take the time to sit down, knock on the door, call the representatives. Make sure that phone is hung up, and thank you very much, caller. Let's say something to the mothers and fathers. First, we give our condolences to the young man that was hit today, or a couple of days ago, and that was killed. But we also want to say something to these young drivers and old drivers with these very fast automobiles. Slow down. You know, show some respect. You know, and something is going on. I know you might be hurrying to work, but your car is a little something stronger than a flesh muscle. Your car is 22,000 pounds or something. You know, slow it down, man. Let somebody know that you care about them. You don't have to show them you better get your you know what out the street. Don't give them that. Slow it down. And I want to say, is there something that y'all observed, because we talked about this earlier. What about when you see parents at a bus stop and children close to the curb? Did that bother y'all at all? That's an alarm to you at all?
Yeah. Well, you know, let me that you said it and you brought up children. Let me just point out. The week after my brother was killed, we came back from a candlelight vigil only to watch the news. A set of twin girls, hadn't even reached 7 years old, were hit and run, killed. That next year, after I was on television, that Christmas, a year later, I think it's like a 8-year-old kid was riding his bicycle in the River Road area out in DeKalb County, run over, killed, left for dead. You tell me how that parent felt. Now, I know how my mother felt. I know how I felt. But can anybody out there in the TV audience consciously say that you know how a person felt after they had lost a child because somebody just blatantly run over them and left their child for dead?
You know, y'all, we got to think about these things. And Lee, me and you were talking about how mothers sometimes have a lot of trust while they standing at the bus stop, and they have 4-year-olds or 3-year-olds close to the curb. You know, it's time to hold hands. It's time to step back off the curb, and
it's deep. It's psychological. A lot of like we was talking about earlier. A lot of these so-called now parents have never had parents. You know, so they don't know that connection. This is something that needs to be taught. When you talk about safety, when you talk about voting, political aspect, these things need to be taught. That's just like this past weekend, I reached out to Byron Amos, who was the former District 2 Atlanta Board member, and we are going out and we're forming a group now to go out and do classes to educate our people about voting in City Hall and politics and safety.
yeah.
You know, taking that initiative because people like the callers called in and say they sleep.
Well, you're a young kid just graduated from high school. I think you're about a year or two out of high school, and you're looking for a job. You starting your career, so you can't come down to City Hall too much. And you just you just finished college, and you're working on your career, aren't you? So you can't come down to City Hall, can you?
No. I am in City Hall. I live right downtown North Avenue. I can get to
Well,
City
you
Hall.
working on your college career, or you still in college?
You speaking as a person.
No, you're talking about Nate.
No,
He's
I'm
talking about me because I'm
No,
37 years old.
no,
Wait a minute, you 37?
no.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. You 37, you have time to go and get involved, and surely you in college.
No, I'm not in college. I've never gone to college, and what
Wait a minute, are you a
inspires
senior
me-
citizen?
Well, that's what some people say.
Well, let me get this right. Hold on, let me get this right. Is there any senior citizens out there, y'all, who done retired, who know the system, who have ability and time, and you can ride the bus if you're what, 65 or have a disability, you can ride for $1. You have to get involved, y'all.
Yeah,
For
you
$1.
speak on college. You speak on college. We just spoke to some Spelman youth, and they have groups now to where they go down to City Hall and they get involved in the community. So it is time. You know, that this has to be a part of, I don't care what age you are, it has to be a part of your life. Even if you're a child, even being educated on it, even going out to campaign, you know, even just having classes with our kids so when they do grow up and get of age, they already know what politics is about.
Get involved.
Get involved. Get involved. You have to do that.
Get involved.
That's something that we're missing here, but I just want to.
The shared living too.
I
That's
just.
shared living
Oh yeah.
we talked about.
We're talking.
Washington Park.
We're talking. Say it again.
Washington Park, Tennessee.
Oh yeah, there was a gentleman that was. I tell you what, we're gonna tie that in a second. Let's get to an article that was in the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. You sent it to me, brother.
About the
Lee.
co-shared living.
What was that project? Was it $50 million project?
That's coming off the new Rockefeller Foundation. When they came in, they're bringing in a technique they're using in in New York. So what they're doing, co-share living.
They call it what?
Co-share living.
Okay, describe that. What
What
does
it
this
is,
look like?
it's just like, say you have a rooming house. So instead of having a rooming house, you're going to be in an apartment where you're sharing.
Upscale apartment.
Well, let's say we don't know how it's going to
Well, look here. I saw $50 million.
Yeah.
It's going to be an upscale apartment.
So, but it's going to be right there where the old General Motors factory used to be at.
That's a new development.
Yeah.
Oh no, you Lakewood.
No, over there, the Tommyville area, where the federal penitentiary is.
Oh, it's going to be there? I thought it was going to be over on Brooklyn Highway area.
That's probably another.
Oh, you're talking
Okay.
South
Okay.
Atlanta, Southeast Atlanta.
Okay,
Yeah.
but what he's talking about
So-
is new development.
This is where affordable housing is going. They're talking about you have to come in and buy a room, and the rooms start at $1,040, and you share the kitchen and the rest of the area with another family.
So that's $3,000 a month, and they're talking about going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stories high with this type of thing.
So instead of your Section 8 getting you a townhome, a house, or apartment, your Section 8 voucher will now
You a
be
rooming
getting you a
house.
room.
Rooming house.
In an apartment, but you're not
Why?
even in a room and house. You're in a room and apartment.
Why?
Let me ask you this here: what made you say Section 8? I didn't think
That's what is a part of that. Section 8 will be giving out vouchers. These are for low-income people. These are for people who are low-income on HUD assistance, Section 8, or just low-income as far as they make under $35,000 a year.
Well, what about ownership?
That's when there's no ownership.
No, it's not ownership.
Wow.
Section 8 don't give ownership.
Wow.
But let me say this here. I read that article,
Yeah.
and I think we can talk about that next week. But what I got from reading the article is that they basically said that that's not going to fit the needs of most the housing need that's in those communities.
The critics, that's what the critics are
the
saying.
critics. Now I'm a critic of
Yeah,
it.
me too.
You
Yeah,
know,
anybody with
because
common sense,
if you're rolling out apartments for individuals for and they said the lowest was going to be $1,040.
$1,040, yeah, the lowest.
Yeah, the lowest. So some of them going to even be higher and
Higher than
include cleaning. I believe one package includes
Well,
cleaning.
it includes, it's like, something like that cleaning, but it includes lights and utilities. And but my thing is, it's like you're bringing back the projects.
Well, hold on. I'm for bringing back the project.
No, I'm talking about what
Okay.
comes along with the project.
Okay, well, let me say this right here. The problem I had with that article, and y'all need to go ahead, is AJC had the article on it.
Co-living.
Co-living. I remember 140 or 1,040 or 50 a month. But pull it up. But my concern about it, Brother Lee and Davenport, where is the family unit?
That's it.
Where's the mother, the father? Where's the child who's going to go to that elementary school or that middle school or high school?
That's it.
There's not.
We're not having housing for that. And so many of our communities are being inundated with these ideas of our Airbnbs.
They wiped out the village.
They
They
knocking
wiped it
out the
Wiped it out.
village.
Clean, knocked it out. Yeah.
And we're not having that connection of community and parks. I am so grateful in my neighborhood that I saw kids running and playing tag, getting to know each other, talking and playing. The year before that, they wasn't talking too much. Both of them was new, only been in the neighborhood a year and a half or two. And now because of maybe a bus have put them in the same grade, some kind on the bus, now they knowing each other, they're active, they're playing, they're running. You know what they was running? I was just watching them, right? So I had a little game I wanted them to play. I said, who's the fastest out here? You know, when you get a 3 or 4, 5-year-old, when they talk about the fastest, you got to let them win or they start crying. You know, so I wasn't trying to say nothing to them.
Start that.
No, I ain't trying to start nothing. But these were children that was in the 5th, 6th, 7th grade. So now they're in 6th, 7th grade, and I know one of the kids is very athletic. Do you know they put up a thing about 40 yards. The guy won, but the little girl was so close catching him. If it was a 100-yard dash,
She would have made it.
she would have took him, or he would have to come up and kick into another gear. But, you know, on these little telephones and computers and all that thing is not the only and best way for us to, that our children should be engaged with. I remember finding mustardine trees, pear trees, and all kind of things by being out. So, what the city hall can do too is put 4-way stop signs up to help slow traffic down. But we got to get on this transportation study. Now, this transportation study, we want to talk about how to integrate. Really, they want us out of our damn cars. That's what they want. They don't give a damn about families when you start putting all these other housing. I don't give a damn about families.
Ron, let's take it a step further.
No, hold on, wait a minute.
They want you out the community.
They want you out the community.
Identification.
They want a whole different culture there.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid. They have this situation they ran on Cascade and Ponce Leon. I don't want to say the figure. I had it in my head, but that's been 6 months ago since I used to talk about it. But I know it's over $300,000, $500,000 a year to operate that. Where is the study group to talk about the issues that we have in our community about safety, about stop signs, about things that can help save our community? But Jackson talked about drinking fountains, but what about something different, y'all? What about the concerns of bathrooms? Could y'all talk about that? Both of y'all have talked about the bathroom and the model. Let's talk about that before we get too far out
Now,
here.
thank you for saying that. And let me go back to the park. And let's say Washington Park. Even in Washington Park, the bathroom, the men's and women's bathroom is in disarray. And I'm kind of glad you brought that up because that reminds me of today at City Hall. They issued a proclamation to Coach Winks, who is the tennis director.
Right, stay there.
He's the tennis director. And I was so proud that Antonio Brown saw fit that this young
Good
man,
work, Tony.
this young man took a group of kids to the U.S. Open this year, and he's been doing it for the past several years. Himself and this other guy by the name of Jonathan Hart, they're going to take a group of kids to Ghana next year on tour to teach Ghanaians the tennis lesson. Now, Ron, let me tell you, just say something.
Go ahead.
WorkSource Atlanta received a $14 million grant. Thank you. Last week they gave the Washington Park and Auditorium $300,000. But what about that tennis center? What about these bathrooms? What about these people up under these bridges who are homeless? I tell you, Jonathan Hart does something so great. He put together a group of gold medal Olympians and took them to Washington High School this past spring. This is the type of work Jonathan Hart and William Fulton does in that community. We talk about bathrooms, we talk about water fountains. We need to talk about some Jonathan Harts, some William Fultons who are helping youth, black community youth who are doing something positive. Now, $14 million run, I don't know about you, but I could blow a lot of noses with $14 million.
What was they doing with the $14 million? What they committed to?
You remember we were down there, they tried to say they started out saying they trained 55 people already, but they had to account for half of that money, so now they started doling it out. They got it for parks and recreations.
Okay.
I want some of that money to go to the parks. I want some of that
how
money.
about going to some fountains, drinking fountains?
Homeless.
How about going to some functional bathrooms?
Bathrooms.
And what about the Lee brought it to my attention just a couple weeks ago that the westbound now, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars have been already shot into and committed to the Beltline, a trail, y'all, a leisure trail. But we have citizens in wheelchairs who can't get on the curb without tilting over. Let's pay attention to the smaller things.
Can you
and
tell
then
me?
we can't, The bathroom is not even used. And then when someone urinates in the elevator, well, they done bought machines for that.
Yeah,
$75,000 machines.
10,000 apiece. 10,000 apiece.
Well, I heard it was 75,000 apiece.
Talking model?
The model got urinary detection systems in there to where if you urinate in the elevators, you'll be arrested. By the time you get downstairs, they'll be waiting for you.
So you mean to tell me they'll spend thousands of dollars to detect you urinating in the elevator rather than open up a bathroom and allow you to use it? Ain't that something?
They can't even think about it.
That's a
See,
scheme.
that's why Jerry Jackson couldn't call. He having problems with his cat. You said his cat died?
Yeah, the cat.
The dog or the cat?
The cat.
The cat died.
The dog's sick now.
The dog is sick now. So he went to care about the dog and the cat. But the truth of the matter is, we need to care about some human beings around here. The fact is, when we have bathrooms at every model station, and you got to find a police on the west side
Open the door.
to open the doggone door. I have friends that go to the bathroom, and senior citizens and mothers, how can they smile? How can you smile when your children is asking you for some water and you can't get it? And we don't have time to do that.
And it's extra fair because you have to go outside the station and find a business if you can. And most businesses charge you to use the restroom.
I said something today, y'all, and I'm starting to open up my comments by saying, God bless America. And I want to let people know a certain thing about, that I'm an American in this country. I'm a Muslim in this country. I'm a caring, loving citizen in this country and have been all my life. But when I see issues, I'm going to stand up and I'm going to talk about it.
That's right.
When we see problems in this country, especially when we see we have these issues of discrimination, when they call our communities food deserts. We know there was some food deserts when the public projects, when public housing was there. They wasn't easy access. But when you have 9 grocery stores from Kroger and Langhorne and from the West End train station all the way to 285, I don't want to hear nothing about that. I want to got you in the 2 minutes. I want to hear about some services that we really need. Don't give me no fake news. Give us an open bathroom when you're spending billions of dollars for a belt line. You understand? Let's talk about a belt line of a leisure track that nobody ain't going to use and it having a negative impact. So this idea of the doggone thing here, hold on, let me say this here. Get out and vote. You have a net dig Dyer. It's 2 people I wanted to mention there. Mr. Johnson, he's in that election. And then my girl, she's been very good in this election. But I told you I've been talking to all of them and saying I'm going to go for Nate Dyer. Yeah, but all of them has been welcome to come on here. And if anyone who don't come, anyone who needs to come on this station for some particular reason, or is in runoff, you're welcome to come on this station who have survived.
And the polls open tomorrow, so let them know.
And the polls open tomorrow. Get out and vote, y'all.
Let me just
don't let them say that.
It's time to renew District 2.
It's time to renew District 2.
Yes.
Get out there and vote. And what's that? This is 6 for?
Yeah, County Commissioner, Fulton County Commissioner Emma Donnell's.
That's
District 6.
Yeah.
District 6.
Go out and vote. Emma was a great woman, I tell you what, I have a woman for that post. I think we ought to give it back to a woman. And that sign name is Khadijah. That's my girl. I think she can win, and I think that she's going to be accessible. You're going to be able to talk to her. I think I got 1 more minute. Okay, let me say this. I tried to say this earlier. It's very important that we get out and vote, y'all. And this here vote is a matter of really, for the first time now, that you can get somebody out to say, hey, I voted for you, and I expect you to do something for me and do something for my community. So get out and vote. And whoever's in that runoff, because I think it's going to be runoff, you're welcome to come here by yourself anytime. We'll make space for you to talk. My name is Ron Shakir, Interviews and Perspectives. Hope to see you next week. I want to thank these here guys. And y'all who are sitting around, get involved. And we got to continue this conversation. I want to tell you what some great things these guys are doing. And I want to thank Sylvia Hayes.
Meet me at City Hall.
And I want to thank, and meet me at City Hall, y'all. And find out, make a telephone call, and brother.